that, as I'm sure you recognised, was Apache. And Apache. And in the studio we have Hank Marvin and Bruce Welsh, John Farrer, Mo Foster on bass and Brian Bennett on drums and piano. And Bruce, you were suggesting that you might possibly re-record Apache.
Well, it's a thought which I think would be well worth considering, seeing as Apache is nearly 14 years ago now. A lot of the kids of today, and a lot of people today, don't remember the original record.
Oh, so you mean the one by Jorgen Ingman that was so big and so popular?
No.
I think he's referring to the Burt Whedon one.
Yes, the Burt Whedon
did Burt do it as well, did he?
Of course, especially written for Burt, I kept reading.
Did anybody record Wonderful Land before you did?
No.
Which is a clumsy way of getting into Wonderful Land. Oh, what a joy to hear that again. That was Wonderful Land. And we've got the Shadows, of course, on Sounds on Sunday. And the next one that we have coming up is their new single, and Jungle Jam is the name of it. Have you got anything profound to say about that, either of you?
It's wonderful.
When it was came out as a single, which was what, the end of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, in fact it was the B-side of the single.
But it's now the A-side.
EMI have seen fit to turn it over and use this as the A-side because it saves them pressing another single.
I see.
That's the truth.
Yes, in days of crisis and emergency and what
There's a
else?
vinyl shortage because it's all going for plastic plumbing pipes. But I think this record could make an excellent plastic plumbing pipe.
I see. Well, let's hear it. The chaps are now going to play Jungle Jam. The Shadows and the B-side, well, it was the B-side, it's now the A-side of the single, Jungle Jam. Exactly what are the Shadows doing these days? I mean, because I'm sure you're not thrashing up and down the M1 in transits and stuff anymore. What are you doing?
No, we're thrashing up and down in Rolls Royces.
But are you doing any gigs at all?
I've got to tell the truth with you, John, we're not at the moment.
No one's offered us any work.
We made the album, which the numbers were painted, some of them are from that album. And that was really the first step in a long process of deterioration.
I see. Well, is it fair? Is it all right to ask you what happened to Marvin, Welsh, and Farah? Can we discuss that, or would you?
Yes, I'll discuss. This is Bruce speaking.
This is Bruce.
Hi there, Bruce. You're certainly looking good this evening, and Bruce is wearing a rather attractive brown jacket.
I left the group a couple of years ago.
Yes, about 1935.
I left, simple as that. So Hank and John continue as Marvin and Farah.
We were going to continue as Welsh and Farah, but it seems silly.
What do I say? What I say is, I think what we'll listen to now, before we get into further trouble, is Nivram, which of course those among you with university degrees will have worked out is Marvin spelled backwards. What will they think of next? That, of course, was Nivram, and on this Sounds on Sunday, you seem to be playing a fair number of oldies but goodies. Why is that?
Because they're classics.
Well, that's one way of looking at it.
What's another way, Hank?
Well, the reason we do this, John, is because we feel that the great British public at large have a right to get what they demand. And we find that they demand the older stuff because there's a great deal of nostalgia in the world.
Yeah.
Very little else, but a great deal of nostalgia.
Yeah.
John Farrar and myself, that you've already mentioned.
I have.
I think
There he is.
Yeah.
Hi there, John. Looking pretty good.
G'day. He's Australian. Yeah, when we do a few gigs, we always include a few Shadows numbers, and again, because we get requests for them, mainly the old ones. We do a couple of the new ones from the album, but mainly the old stuff, which we're doing today.
Just as you pointed out, actually, when did you point it out? As you pointed out before we started, the programme, we've got at least 3 former #1 records, and this is the 3rd of them. We've had Apache and Wonderful Land, and here's another toe tapper. Well, it's not toe tapper, it's actually Dance On, foot tapper, Dance On.
Or a leg shaker.
Or a leg shaker. Dance On for you there, for those of you who are confused by all that silliness before we started. One thing I've noticed, actually, from talking to contemporary rock bands is that the younger ones didn't grow up in, of course, the golden days of rock and roll with Eddie Cochran and people, but they grew up in the golden days of the Shadows. So there's a lot of Shadows influence in the music of bands like Wishbone Ash and Brinsley Schwartz and a few others and things. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel, this is Hank speaking, I think it's nice to hear of groups like this who, I think, as you say, are contemporary, they're playing nice music today, who have been influenced by us. It makes me feel very flattered that we did some good.
Yeah, because it was for a long time, you see, when in 1967, 68 and 69, when I was had a weekend programme and people used to listen to it, in those days, of course, it was like very uncool to like the Shadows, and you had to, the Shadows, man, this is, you know, How On Together or something. But in actual fact, the Shadows sound was very gratifying, sort of nice, clean, clear sound, something that you could actually quite enjoy listening to. I'm glad that people are picking up on that, on the sound again. And let's hear a little more of it now. This is from the LP. Tell us all about it.
Hang on, I'm just going to practice the steps for this one. Do you remember your steps?
Right. I never actually could do that step. I used to watch it on films and things.
Mud do it very well.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah. I never, because I always end up with like a leg extra, you know what I mean? Because it's like a triangular thing, isn't it?
Jake the Peg.
And you always end up with like one leg in the wrong place at the end of it.
We always have an extra leg.
Well, that could make it a lot easier. This is on the LP, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to get you to say the name of the LP,
right.
you see.
Oh, the LP
yes.
is called Rocking with Curly Leads.
Can we have a little echo on that?
Rocking with Curly Leads.
Nothing to do with football, of course, and just as well. Let's hear Turn Around and Touch Me. Well, that was the original A-side of the single, and it's also on the LP, which is Rocking with Curly Leads. Rocking with Curly Leads. You missed your cue. And we have now, we're going to have in just a moment or so anyway, one of my favourite Shadows numbers, which is the Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt. I asked them to do the boys, but they refused. They said they were too old for that sort of thing. And but there's, why is it called the Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt? Who is Flingle Bunt?
Well, have you ever heard of an actor called Richard O'Sullivan?
Yeah.
Well, years ago he made several films with us, including The Dancing Years, When It's Lilac Time, etc. And he used to have two make-up characters he used to talk about these people. One was called Flingle Bunt, the other was Squimby Neurox. So we chose Flingle Bunt, and we'd just seen a film called The Rise and Fall of Legs Diamond. And after we'd recorded Flingle Bunt, which was virtually a jam session actually, it came very quickly in the studios. We didn't have the time for it, and having seen this film in the silly name of Flingle Bunt, we put the two together and came up with The Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt.
Well, let's see if it comes together quickly in the studios now. Oh, isn't he a wonderful professional person?